En dan het gesprek dat Olaf Mol altijd heeft. Het uitgebreide gesprek, dit keer met een sympathieke, maar ook een emotionele Australiër. De baas van Minardi, Paul Stoddart, die dus ineens 2 Nederlanders aan zijn fiets heeft hangen. Hier is hij.
Edward, dankjewel. Ja, we zitten in het motorhome van het team van Minardi. En naast mij zit de teambaas van het team van Minardi, Paul Stoddart. Ik denk dat het iemand is die in Nederland, I think the whole of Holland knows you by now, I guess.
Well, I think if they didn't before, they will now. I think double Dutch is something that nobody thought would ever happen, so history in the making.
It is what you say. You've been working in a way that there have been possibilities last year whether this was happening and the year before. Yeah. Now it happened halfway during the season. One thing I think personally for you is very important. Patrick Vriesacker is a good bloke and a good driver.
Absolutely. What happened to Patrick has no reflection on his driving ability. He did a fantastic job with the team. He's much loved by the team, but we make no secret Minardi drivers must have commercial sponsorship. There was a problem with the sponsorship and it's regrettable, but Patrick will be back. He's done enough to earn his keep in Formula One.
You know, we've got clever fans and all, and some of them said to us, yes, true, I understand they need commissioner, but Paul made lots of points in America. And I, as a commentator, always say that 1 point, because of everything which is going around, makes lots of money.
Big mistake. No, from 98, points have meant nothing other than the prestige of earning them. You don't actually get any more money. Concord Agreement is actually paid out on championship finishing positions. So if we'd have jumped a position, then it would have been worth money. But points in themselves are worth nothing.
You started in Formula One as a lover of the sport, as a sponsor, doing the pit board on the Sunday. Now you're one of the team owners, talking to the biggest blokes in the world, talking with them. Is it fun? Is it still fun?
It's interesting, and I feel like I'm almost a grandfather now because Minardi, obviously 4th oldest team, but now with all the changes we've had this year, I'm now the 5th oldest team principal, longest serving team principal. So yeah, it's been an interesting 5 years.
All right. We komen zo dadelijk terug. We'll be back in a moment. And then I'm going to ask you something about the start of the 2005 season. Of hoe het ging aan het begin van het seizoen 2005. Graag tot zo als we terug zijn met Paul Stoddart.
Is zo normaal.
Ja, mooi.
Zo.
Dat is niet zo normaal.
Zo.
We gaan terug naar het gesprek van Olaf Mol met Paul Stoddart. Hij heeft een klein voorverhaaltje nodig, want het gaat over Australië. En wat gebeurt er nou ook weer precies aan het begin van het seizoen? Oude aerodynamica van Minardi. Via die zei van, dan kom je niet aan de start. Stoddart, die boos was, een punt wilde maken en naar de rechter stapte. Maar uiteindelijk toch in de nacht voor de race zei van, nou, laten we dan toch maar aanpassen, want we willen wel heel graag racen. Dat racen gebeurde ook, maar dit zegt Stoddart nog meer over dat incident.
Welkom terug, hij zit nog steeds naast me. Paul, when 2005 season started, we've had this hassle in Australia where first you didn't have your stuff on the car properly to the regulations, then you did. I think some people at the end said, mwah. My question to you is, would you do the same again or would you do it differently?
I'd do it differently. One mistake I made was not continuing with the action against the FIA and taking it to court and getting a resolution. On the Friday night when I was told that Max Mosley would cancel the Australian Grand Prix, I backed down. Given my time over again, I would not have backed down. It needed to be resolved, and now finally, whatever we are now, 6 months later, almost 5 months later, things are now starting to happen finally where we're seeing the teams come together. But Australia needed to happen for that to actually occur.
Because I think you personally, for some people, lost some bit of credibility. The drivers were the ones on the first day who were hurt most. And that's not you. To me, you weren't you at that point.
Yeah, there's a
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But there's a different way of looking at this. I don't believe what we did was anything other than in the interests of Formula One. We had an agreement. We had total agreement beforehand. There was nothing unusual about what was going to happen. There was nothing unfair about what was going to happen. It had all been pre-agreed. And I wish that we'd gone all the way. I hadn't had a lot of sleep that week. I was very tired, and I made a decision that in the interest of the sport and in the interest of the Australian Grand Prix, I think was probably a bad decision. We should have taken it to the court. Then we would have had a clear indication of where the regulations stood. and instead we've had many instances since then. We all know those instances. I'm not going to go through them again. Where the sport has probably not done itself any favours, and it could have and probably would have been sorted out in Australia.
Yeah. I know you hate politics, but sometimes you're into it up until your neck.
Up into my eyeballs.
Wherever. Or too far.
Yeah, no, I don't think too far. I mean, I think what I did, as I say, again in Australia, same thing happened again. The outcome would only be slightly different. We still wouldn't have run on the Friday. We would have run on the Saturday under the protection of the court. We would have been in the court on Saturday afternoon, and the issues would have been resolved.
But the things which go around now, I heard somewhere that you said, if Max Mosley stays, I will be going. That's quite a tough one.
It is a tough one, but then look at what else has happened since then. We've seen in the last 2 weeks since I said that, that we've had a letter come out to say that now if there's a flat-spotted tyre, it can be changed without any investigation. That wouldn't have happened otherwise.
True.
We've seen that the Court of Appeal in France has all been dismissed and everything's okay now. Do you really think that would have happened if we'd have all stayed quiet?
So sometimes you need politics.
Sometimes you need politics. Sadly, you don't need them at all. But when they're around and you can do nothing about them being around, sometimes somebody needs to stand up for what they believe in. Otherwise, you'll never get rid of the politics. We are now seeing a conclusion coming towards the two-thirds mark or three-quarter mark of the season. We're getting solutions to problems that have existed for the last 2 years.
True.
You could argue, it's a very fair question, would we have had those solutions if nothing had been done? I think not.
No, and somebody had to step up. Then you brought the new car, the 05.
Yep.
I mean, top for the team.
Yeah, it's
That's
a car.
that's probably Max Mosley on the phone telling him.
It's probably one that we can get rid of, actually. No, I think the new car was late because of, we'll just turn it off. The new car was late because of the situation in Melbourne. We would have hit the ground running, so to speak, a lot better than what we did if there hadn't been for the politics.
Better car.
Oh, it's a fantastic car, and the basic design of it is incredibly solid. The engine, our partners at Cosworth have done a fantastic job with. We're more than impressed with that. And, of course, the most important thing is that is Minardi's engine for next year.
And I see you on the upper side of top speed every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that means more wing.
Absolutely. But what we've not got is the massive budgets for the research and development that the other teams have got. So what we're not getting is the downforce and the aero levels that we want to generate from that car. We will do, but it'll take us time to develop the car. We're testing effectively and developing next year's car now.
Right. Just a couple of questions. The only answer you're allowed to give is true or false. Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Huub Rotengatter is a nutter.
False.
Minardi will beat the Jordans in a race this year.
True.
Okay. The combination between Robert and Christian is good for the team.
That is very true.
Yeah?
Yeah, because what you're going to get now is they're competing for national pride. There's no doubt about that. And you're going to have two guys that are out there giving 110% to beat each other. That can only be good for the team.
Dutch fans are fantastic, but sometimes very difficult.
True to the first one, they're fantastic. I think they're, without doubt, the most enthusiastic and very, very well educated and knowledgeable fans. And what was the second part? Sometimes difficult.
They're difficult sometimes.
I've just been out the front for the last half hour, and most of the fans out there are Dutch, and I haven't encountered any difficulties at all.
Right, that's good, that's good. All right. Well, I won't make these difficult things anymore. What have you brought to the table? Usually the people at the table bring a part of the car or whatever. What have you brought to the...
I've brought to the table something very, very special that hasn't happened before.
It's huge.
This is double Dutch, guys. Here we go. I'll put it in the middle of us.
I'll take one.
You take one. I'll take one. Okay. Double Dutch, and that's it's Formula One history in the making.
It's very good. It's very unique.
It's very unique.
So whatever happens this weekend here at Hockenheim for Holland, it's going to be a historical race.
Absolutely.
In the modern Grand Prix.
Oh, absolutely. And not just this weekend in Hockenheim. I mean, you know, when we get to places like Spa, which is not that far from Holland, I expect to see a fantastic Dutch turnout there. And it's almost like a home race. So we're looking forward to it.
And the good fun is I'll be racing there as well.
Really?
In the Porsche. Don't laugh at me.
No, I'm going to watch with interest.
Thank you very much.
And then I'll give you a few hints afterwards.
Thank you very much. Thanks much for this. Of course, we'll be seeing lots of more of each other during the year. Thanks for your time now. And a very busy weekend, and all the best with our two blokes.
Thank you, and it's great to see that we've got double Dutch finally.
Good.
It's good.
Thank you. Very good.